Chapter 7, Lesson 2, Fractions, Decimals, and Percents. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is percents as decimals. So if I want to make a percent into a decimal, my general rule is that I divide by 100. And when we divide by 100, remember all we're really doing is moving the decimal point. So we move the decimal 2 places to the left because we are dividing by 100. That's our first step, and then our second step is to remove the percent sign. We don't want to keep it in our decimal number. All right, so let's look at some examples. So 16%, remember if there's no decimal, it's really right here. So we divide by 100 or move it 2 places over. We have 0.16 and leave off the percent sign. So 9%, here's our decimal, 2 places, 0.09. We have 0.7%, follow the same rule, 1, 2. So now I have 0 and I have to fill in that 0, just like I did up there. 007, no percent sign. 537%, here's my decimal, 1, 2, 5.37. Remember, no percent signs in your decimal answer. Okay, now I do the opposite if I want to take a decimal and make it a percent. So I will first multiply by 100. And remember, when we're multiplying by 100, we're really moving the decimal. So move the decimal 2 places to the right because now we're multiplying by 100. And then we need to make sure that we add the percent sign. So we put it back in. All right, let's look at some examples. So 0.2, 1, 2 decimal, fill in that 0, 20%. 3.84, 1, 2, 384%. 0.005, 1, 2 places. My decimal number is 0.5%. Or I could also write that as a 0.5% if I wanted. 22, here's my decimal, 1, 2 places, 2,200%. Now, since we're talking about this, let's look at one other way now that I can take a fraction and make it into a percent. So last lesson we looked at, you can put it as a fraction over 100, or you can divide it by 100. And today we're going to talk about one more method. So one thing we can also do is change the fraction to a decimal, and we can use a calculator, and then move the decimal point, divide it by, or multiply it by 100, and move the decimal 2 places to the right, and then add the percent sign. All right, so we'll use our calculator for these. So let's look at some examples. If I do 5 divided by 8 on my calculator, I get 0.625. So here's the fraction, there's the decimal, then the percent, I move it 2 places over, and I get 62.5%, and there's my percent. Okay, on my calculator, if I do 27 divided by 13, I'm going to get 2.076923077, and it's going to keep going. So again, fraction, decimal. Before I try to round anything, I want to move that decimal point 2 places. So I'm going to get 207 point, and we'll round in the nearest tenth. So I'm rounding this number right here, and his neighbor 9 says make him a 7 and add the percent sign. All right, 2 more examples. If I do 7 divided by 9 on my calculator, I get 0.7777 on forever. So I move it 2 places, and I have 77, and I'll round it to the nearest tenth, 0.8%. And then if I have 3 400ths, I do that on my calculator, and I get 0.0075, move it 2 places, and I have 0.75%.